What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another video. I'm Michigan Sports Talk here. In this one, we got some injury updates here leading up to Michigan football's game against Michigan State. Some positive news on the offensive side for the Wolverines, but some bad news on the defensive side. Seems the Wolverines could be out with a key starter. Also go over a new NIL donation made following Michigan's Button Bowl win over Nebraska, and also other former Michigan alumni and players stepping up to boost NIL efforts for the Wolverines. We also go over some recruiting news on two top elite wide receiver targets for the Wolverines, and also an update on Michigan basketball as they have another exhibition game tomorrow against St. John's, and also Michigan hockey off to a hot start, 7-0 following a big win over number 2 Western Michigan. We go over all that and more in this video, so let's go ahead and get right into it. Alright, so to start this video, I wanted to go over first some injury updates here for the Wolverines heading into this rivalry matchup against Michigan State on the road Saturday night, as the Wolverines look to keep their playoff hopes alive and build off the momentum they have built in that game against Washington. They did get some good news here, it seems, here on the offensive side for the Wolverines. Justice Haynes, obviously he dressed for the Washington game, even worked with the ones in warm-ups, and while it seemed like he potentially could have gone, might not have been 100%, Michigan did leave him out of the game. But according to Chris Ballas of On3 and the Wolverine, he did practice this week, and it does seem like he could go against Michigan State. Same thing with Marlon Klein, Michigan tight end, who has had an upper body injury, didn't play against Washington. Neither did Hogan Hansen, and Zach Marshall and Deacon Tonielli in that tight end room stepped up huge in that Washington game and put that crazy depth on display that the Wolverines have in that tight end room. So I'm not really concerned with the tight end room. Anybody can step up and go out there and perform well for the Wolverines. They are stacked in that room, but obviously Marlon Klein is a different animal, and according to Chris Ballas, he did say folks close to it believe both of Justice Haynes and Marlon Klein will play, although we'll have to see what the game time decisions are. Obviously both of them will want to play in this game against Michigan State, but as always is the case, the health for the players is the biggest concern and the most important part here. But it does seem like the Wolverines will be getting them back. Now, they probably could go into this game without them because we got Jordan Marshall, obviously, but having Justice Haynes back just gives this Michigan offense that extra potential explosive play in the run game that Justice Haynes brings. I still do think that Jordan Marshall will get a lot more carries as he has been getting, or compared to what he's been getting when Justice Haynes is healthy, especially after that incredible effort and performance he had against Washington. That's a little update right there on the offensive side. As far as the defensive side, it does seem like the Wolverines expect to be down at least one key starter on defense due to an old injury flaring up on the unnamed player. Now, Michigan saw some players go down in the game against Washington. Defensive tackle Rayshawn Benny went down. Sherrone Moore said early in the week that he's doing okay. We'll look to see if he can practice this week and see where that goes, but we'll know in the middle of the week where he is. Ernest Hausman also went down, but he should be good. He got up on his own. And then as far as Rod Moore, Brandon Hillman, they both didn't play, and Sherrone Moore said, I think Brandon will practice this week. We'll just take it day by day. And then also same thing with Rod, so we'll find out who that player is. But as far as this Michigan defense goes, really seems like they found themselves in that game against Washington. Players were in the right spots in that game, and again, I mentioned it in yesterday's video, when you're in the right position, good things will happen, and we saw that with players like Cole Sullivan and Jimmy Rolder, who both got interceptions in the second half of that game against Washington. And I do expect a similar effort from this defense here in this game against Michigan State. But that's some injury updates right there. Let me know what you guys think. And obviously, with Evan Link out, Blake Frazier will get the start. He had a great game against Washington, and what a cool moment it will be for him to start in this game against Michigan State, albeit it's not the way he wanted it to happen for him to take on a starting role. But the redshirt freshman performed very well against Washington, looking to continue it here in this rivalry game against Michigan State. Alright, so in this rivalry game here between Michigan and Michigan State, using the sleeper app, I'm taking Bryce Underwood to pass for more than 206.5 passing yards against that weak Michigan State passing defense. Also taking Nick Marsh to have less than 60.5 receiving yards. I think they get him going. I don't think he passes that though. And you can make tons of picks like this using the sleeper app. Right now it's a great time to get started because they are offering a free $20 entry, no deposit required, plus first time users still also receive a 100% deposit match up to $100 using promo code MST. Terms and conditions apply. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. So guys, go ahead, check out Sleeper today. Link down below in the description. And then I also wanted to mention the Bussin' Bowl between Michigan and Nebraska. Obviously, Wolverines defeated Nebraska on the road in Lincoln, and it was more than just the trophy on the line that day. Former Michigan first team All-American Taylor Lewan and former Nebraska linebacker Will Compton placed a hefty wager on the game, with the loser had to donate $50,000 to the winner's NIL collective. So due to that, Will Compton did have to donate $50,000 to Michigan's NIL collective. So pretty funny right there, but also pretty cool that both of them are doing that. Also a couple more Michigan alumni that have been helping out with Michigan's NIL collective. First, Charles Woodson and his Woodson Whiskey brand announced a partnership with Champion Circle for a limited edition bourbon lineup benefiting student athletes in Ann Arbor. And also former Michigan two-time All-American tight end Jake Butt has been supporting Champion Circle with his time and energy, as he has been involved in content creation and brand deals with current players. So I just wanted to mention that. And then we do got some recruiting news here on some top elite wide receiver targets in the 2027 class for the Wolverines. We'll first start with the 2027 four-star top 100 wide receiver Khalil Taylor, a former Penn State commit, has since decommitted, and now the Wolverines are going after him. And according to Ethan McDowell of On3 and the Wolverine, he does plan on coming in for a visit for the Michigan-Ohio State game, as Michigan should be a player here in this recruitment following his decommitment from Penn State. And then also another big one the Wolverines are going after is the five-star wide receiver Monsoon Sales. He recently visited over the weekend for the Washington game. The Wolverines are a top contender here in this recruitment. They have a connection with Donovan McCauley, and the schools that are in the mix here is Michigan, Notre Dame, Alabama, Ohio State, Oregon, LSU, and others. He did recently drop a top 12. Michigan was in that list, and it does seem like he may come in for another visit for the Michigan-Ohio State game, which that game and that weekend will obviously be a big weekend here as far as recruiting goes for the Wolverines. And then I also wanted to talk about Michigan basketball and Michigan hockey here. First start with Michigan basketball. They did lose in their first exhibition game last week against Cincinnati 100-98, although the Wolverines were without both big men Adai Mara and Merez Johnson Jr. Wolverines did have a tough first half. They did try to rally back and come back in the second half, fell short though, but Dusty May did say post-game they're glad that they had this exhibition game and now they know what they have to work on. But the Wolverines did outscore them 64-48 in the second half, and also Yaxel Lendeborg led Michigan with 31 points and 12 rebounds. He is going to be very fun to watch here this season. But Dusty May did give an update on Adai Mara and Merez Johnson. He said, I think they're getting close. I don't speak for the medical staff, but it feels like it's getting much closer, and they are both probable for Saturday's exhibition game against St. John's, which it does kind of suck. That game will also be played during the Michigan State football game, but we'll see how they do in that exhibition game against St. John's. And then Michigan hockey 7-0 to start the season here. They just defeated number 2 Western Michigan 4-0, as they have been on a heater recently here to start the season. And one of the biggest reasons is because of their freshman goalie Jack Ivankovic. He's already got 2 shutouts this season, coming one of them from last night's game against number 2 Western Michigan, the reigning national champs. Had a career high 32 saves to shut them out, and the Wolverines just allowing 7 goals through their first 7 games here. So an absolute great start for Michigan hockey, and hopefully they keep it going. Seems like they got a good squad this season. So I just wanted to mention that on the basketball and hockey front, but Wolverines got a big one tomorrow, rivalry game against Michigan State as they look again to keep their playoff hopes alive. Got to go 1-0 here each week. Try to get to Ohio State at 9-2. That is the goal for this young Michigan football team. But with that, that's going to wrap up this video. Hope you guys did enjoy. If you did, make sure to go ahead, drop a like, comment down below, and subscribe for more. If you are new around here, I greatly appreciate it. And other than that, we will see you guys in the next video. Go Blue.